Roll, please, rolling!
Set.
We have a duel between Peter and Miraz in this movie that takes it, as a central part of the action.
In the book, in the illustration, it's almost like a boxing ring. There are like 4 pieces of wood and a bit of rope. And you think, that's not going to work in the movie. It's got to be something better.
Broad overview to start this thing. When we come back from Poland, we get into the better part of 2 weeks on the Duel.
It's almost like a boxing ring, it's square with columns around it. Instead of using the corners, we're using 2 opposing sides. Peter comes from the How, Miraz comes from his troops, and suddenly it all comes together as somewhere to fight, somewhere to stage the thing.
How many more must die for the throne?
Just 1.
I've always been somebody who really believes in intricate, focused, tiny details. And I've been lucky now to do 2 films with a lot of people that share those ideals. Weta Workshop obviously being one of those.
Miraz is wearing a suit of armour that are heavily etched, overlaid to give multiple levels of texture. There's even a little mural. You can see even around this piece here. There's the soldiers attacking and so on.
I'll show you these. These are our Miraz swords.
In Miraz we actually used a 3D printing technique to actually manufacture the cage and the crossbar and so on. It's quite elaborate, especially when you're
please!
Gotta go.
We're prepping largely for the Duel, which is coming up this week. So it's all about Miraz for us. It's a big golden army in there.
It's a challenge for us as far as just maintaining and repairing these suits go, Time is of the essence, so we need to get whatever's broken or needs to be repaired done as quickly as possible.
We're very close to filming the battle and the duel between Miraz and Peter, which is a D-Day for us. It's something I'm looking forward to, excited about. So we've got people rehearsing and practicing that so that we can see what sort of challenges we're going to have with the armour and the weapons on the day.
We're having a near full armour dress rehearsal with Miraz and Peter. It's the first time we've seen the choreography right through, so this is interesting for us because we get to see how hammered the armour gets and in what way. Luckily we have 5 suits for that purpose, so we can have different stages of breakdown through the fight.
Yeah, who do you think's gonna win?
I don't know, the big guy's looking good.
On me.
Got like pump to fight. Whose guns ain't got no safety catch.
$100 on Miraz.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So just to get into this initially, you'll actually be coming from here.
I think we've seen sword fights, one-on-one sword fights, so many times in the films, and I really challenged Alan to find a new way of doing this.
The Peter versus Miraz fight, we had a choreographed a fight. We started on November last year.
William and Sergio had to train for this for months ahead of time so that it felt real, so it didn't feel like it was too coordinated or too balletic or too dance-like.
We can actually even break Peter's helmet.
And I think we've created a really interesting duel where it's not just about the swords, it does actually become quite hands-on and quite brutal.
I would not want to be anywhere else in the world but here right now.
Time! I spoke to Sergio. He confessed he hadn't really done any heavy-duty physical fighting. You don't sense it at all in the swordplay. He really comes across as this menacing character.
It came down that it worked out that I was pretty much the right size to double Sergio.
Texting. Yeah, exactly.
Texting on the side.
It is a wrestling thing.
Finish. Over.
Yeah. And obviously because I created the fight, so I didn't have to teach it to anybody. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. It keeps you honest.
No stunties were harmed in the making of this movie.
Mark?
No, I think it's a matter of looking at this fight and finding the beats.
Yes.
And then kind of going, okay, what's the most interesting way to cover this beat?
You know, we shot it a number of ways. We shot it fairly straight at first with, you know, 2 cameras, a handheld and a Steadicam.
The day of the fight, the best day.
Then we actually shot it on a circular track with 3 cameras, so that while the fight was happening, we were circling them the whole time.
Talking about the Iconics camera, what we can do with that. I think Alan made some tests today.
Built several rigs where we actually built the camera into the shield.
This is the smallest high-definition video camera we could find, called Iconics. Makes for great options of little flash cuts, action cuts. We get to positions where the normal film camera could never go. Good.
Got to work with Greg and the camera guys and did a bit of camera work where they'd mounted a 235, which I wore, and then fought with William, and then changed around and ended up fighting with Sergio.
So basically it gave us all these different ways of shooting it that we can cut between.
Ready, and action!
There's a visceral, dangerous quality to all of these battles, and the challenge for me as a filmmaker has been to find ways to make it feel adult and grown up and action-packed enough that you really believe in all of that jeopardy.
Mission complete.